Hello, this is Kim with Crochet with Kim. I am so happy to be with you another wonderful day of crocheting. As you can see here, I have switched up my colors a little bit. I'm thinking about autumn. Autumn is just around the corner. Kids are probably getting ready, prepared to go back to school. And I think about the autumn leaves, and that is just one of my favorite times of the year. This time I'm going to use a totally different pattern. I've been doing the corner to corner pattern where I would show you how to incorporate different blocks like the square blocks or the rectangular blocks. This time I'm going to do what I consider like a wave type pattern. It's still going to be corner to corner, but just in a wavy look. So to begin with that, of course, we need our crochet hook. I am going to use a G hook this time, which is your 4.25 millimeter hook. Of course, we'll need a pair of scissors. We need a stitch marker, not necessarily, but you can use one if you like, but you really don't need one unless you just want to know which way is the front and which way is the back. But with this particular pattern, either side you can use, and it's not really necessary to know which one is the right side and which is the wrong side. And of course I have these four beautiful colors. I have this burnt Sahara. These are all cotton yarns, and sometimes we can use these like for oven mitts or pot holders or placemat to put hot pots and stuff on, and this would be great material to use that for. This is called Spunky. It's like a combination of some of the different autumn colors. Then we have here our forest green, and then I have antique gold. Now I know that sometimes the darker colors are hard to see, but I'm gonna try to make it as easy as possible to see it. If I can, do forgive me if it's not as bright as you would like for it to be. Hopefully, maybe with the adjustment of a little bit of lights that I was able to do, that you will be able to see the darker color. But you know, when you think of autumn, you're always thinking of most definitely the green, because the leaves are changing from that green to the different colors that they are changing into, whether it's gold or pretty auburn red or orange or bright orange or what have you, that whatever tree that's producing. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my burnt Sahara, and I am going to do like I normally do. We'll make a chain. I'm going to do the half double crochet with this particular pattern because this is a little thinner yarn than the 4-ply. It's still considered, let me take a look at that, it is still considered, I believe, a 4-ply, but it's just on a little thinner scale because it is cotton. And I am using this from Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton. I love the yarn. This is just one of my favorite yarns from the company. I do use other company yarn or different ones from different stores like Walmart or Michael's and different places like that. But this has been one of my favorites. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to start out with my 5 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I am going to place my hook in the 3rd stitch from the hook, or 3rd chain from the hook. I got double crochet. I didn't like the way that one chain looked. Let me just do this again. 2, 3, and 4, starting from the counting back from the hook, the third chain from the hook, and then we'll yarn over, pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops, and go to that 4th chain from the hook and pull through all 3, yarn over, go through that last chain, or which we would call the beginning chain of this project. And I try to get it through both of them, but if I cannot, I don't really worry about it. And you know, this is for tutorial purposes. I can always go back and put me maybe like a border on if I would like to. And then we'll chain up 5, and we'll start our second block. And actually, the corner to corner, you can do any kind of way or any kind of colors. You can make all solid colors. You can put combination of colors, which this is what I'm going to do with this one. And you just have to know how many rows, number one, you're going to do, how many times you're going to use each color on one side to start, and then the decrease part of it, and also what combination or how you're going to use the yarn. In this particular process, I am going to start this with 3 rows. Now this is my second row right here that I've just completed. Oops. And I have the double crochet in mind, but I want to do this in a half double crochet. I've been doing a lot of double crochet here lately. So I have that double crochet in mind, but I'm going to do a half double crochet for this project. And I'm going to have that start there. Let's see if I can kind of turn it where we have a better view of it. So that's my second one. I'm going to just use a stitch marker to let me know this is the right side, but we really don't need it for this particular project, and once you see it's in completion, you'll understand why. But just for sake of it, I'll just go ahead and just put a stitch marker to this on the front, and this will let me know this is the front of my work. And I'm going to do one more row. So we'll go ahead and chain 5. No, I'm sorry if I'm out of range here. Let me see if I can do this a little better. There we go. And we'll do that third chain from the hook, the 4th chain from the hook, and the 5th chain from the hook. And that was our first block. And I actually did this particular pattern for one of my sale projects where I actually was selling my coasters from the little 4x4s up to I think it was about 10x10 size, and those actually sold really well. I was really amazed at how fast they sold. So I said, well, okay, I'll just continue doing these particular size or these particular patterns. And I just kind of actually made the pattern up So I'm getting ready. Here I just completed my third row. So what we're going to do, we're going to place another color. Now for the sake of this stitch marker, we know this is the back of the work, so we can always just leave that yarn in the back. I'm going to pick up this Spunky, in which they entitled it, and I thought I had it all ready for me. Here we go. And I'm going to put this Spunky right into the end of this last stitch, and I'll go ahead and chain 5, and go into the third stitch, and you just keep doing that like you normally would. Uh-oh, picked up an extra thread there. Let's do that again. The trickiness about cotton yarn, it's a little thinner, so it's easier to kind of pick up those threading when you're trying not to. So just want to make it as neat as possible. So we'll go ahead and we'll do our three additional half double crochets. There's the second one, and then there's the third one. And you'll see this kind of pull up a little bit. All you gotta do is give it a little pull. And we'll keep going with this spunky yarn. Leave this burnt Sahara kind of hanging there for a moment. We'll use it again, but that's when we're on the decreasing side. So we'll go ahead and continue doing our half double crochets across this row. Now, as we're going up, we do know that we are increasing our rows. And in this case, you don't have to count blocks or anything. You just have to make sure you want to keep your pattern as fluent as you possibly can. Where if you start out with 3, you always want to end with 3, and you want to be able to know what color you're wanting to be in your center. Your main colors are what you want to start with and what you want to end with, and what's in the center, how many rows you have, and I'll show you everything that I'm talking about as I get further involved. Now we're finished with row 4, so we'll go ahead with row 5, and we'll count up 5, and then go ahead and do our other stitches. And we'll count up 2 for a half double crochet. We count up 3 for a double crochet. We'll just keep going, and we're going to have 3 of these spunky, of the color spunky. We're going to have 3 rows of these. Oops, the threading. Threading is easy to get caught on the hook. And then we have our fourth block. Oops. And then we'll have our fifth block. And then one, we only need two. And then when we finish this row, we'll add one more row. Go ahead and you yarn over and pull through all three. I thought for sure I had all of this kind of separated, but it can get tangled really easy as you're working. I'll just go ahead and clip my burnt Sahara just to keep as little entanglement as possible. It likes to do this from time to time. So I like to just kind of work the work through if I can while it's on the smaller side. Once it gets a little bigger, of course, it'll be a little bit more of a challenge. Okay, so we'll continue to go here. So we'll count out our additional 5. And yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over and pull through all 3. So then we'll go to our second block. Chain up 2. Yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And yarn over and pull through all 3. Then we'll slip stitch into the next block. We'll count 2. Yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And we'll just go ahead and continue to do that until we get to the end of this row, and then we're going to add our next color. Now I have not used these colors before. As far as for this particular project, I have not done this in these colors. I've done the project before, but just not. I've used the rainbow colors, and I must say it was very, very pretty. It actually sold pretty quick. It sold very quick. Because I've had the rainbow color in a granny square. I had the rainbow color in a circle, and I had it in a corner to corner, and all of them have sold. So it was pretty cool to see that happen. Okay, so now we're going to start with our next color. Again, we'll just pull through, but we won't pull it all the way through. We'll just go ahead and grab that next color and pull through all 3, chain 5, which is our green, and we'll go work through that third chain from the hook, and then we'll continue on with the remaining stitches of this particular block. I'll go ahead and pull this and pull on this, kind of tighten it up a little bit, and we'll go ahead and continue on. And we will do 3 rows of the green, the forest green. And we'll go ahead and do our slip stitch, chain 2, yarn over and pull through all 3, yarn over and pull through all 3, yarn over and pull through all 3, yarn, slip stitch into our next one, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over and go under that stitch and pull through all 3, and we will continue this down this row, because I really didn't know what colors I wanted to put with it. I was gonna use the yellow, and I'm like, I don't know. It's not a true yellow, it's like a butter looking color. It's been a lot of sellouts or sold out yarn here recently, because everyone is getting ready for the fall, and for the different holidays that are coming up, and yarn is going like crazy. But I just learned to improvise and keep it moving. So as we look, the green is added on there, and we're going to continue to go here, 5, and we're going to do our second row of green, and we're going to, I never want to squawk or complain about how it's going to look until I actually finish the project. I have been amazed at what the ending result will look like. Sometimes I, be like, I don't know how that's going to look, but then once I finish, I am actually amazed at what I see. And I'm like, at first I didn't think that would look right, but then it turned out okay. This is something, like I said again, it's new. I have never tried it with these colors before, so I'm interested to see what it's going to look like, if it's something that I want to alter, or if I want to change the appearance of, maybe keep the colors but maybe do it in a different way. You never know. So that is how I determine whether I like something or not, or if I want to do something different with what I have. In this case, it's looking pretty good, but I want to see the full results. I don't have any complaints about it so far, though. We're just going to continue on with our green, and we almost completed our second row. I'm gonna put a little bit more yarn because I know we got one more row. And one more row that we need to do. And then once we get through with this, then we're going to switch back to our spunky yarn. So we'll count out 5 more chain of 5, and then we'll begin our row 3 of this forest green. And so we'll go ahead and turn this around and just keep right on going here. I'm trying to get ideas together also for Halloween. Different little ideas for little things that I would like to do. Just being creative. It's something that in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep, an idea come to you. And with me, if I don't get it mapped out, I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. If I don't get it drawn out, I'm not going to remember it the next day or later in the day. So I might as well go ahead. I'm already woke. I'll get up and sketch it out, and then I'll lay back down and go back to sleep if I can. Okay, so we're heading towards the end of row 3 of the forest green. This will be the end of row 9 in all coming up. And we'll just do like we normally do. We slip stitch, chain 2 for a half double crochet, and for a double crochet you chain 3, and then you will yarn over, go through the post, and yarn, pull through all 3, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then we'll have a slip stitch, chain 2, and start all over again, and pull through all 3, and pull through all 3, and then we have one more block to do. Slip stitch, chain 2, pull through all 3, pull through all 3, and then on this last one we do not pull through all 3. We'll just kind of pull some of that green out, and we'll come back down here to the spunky, and we'll we'll put this spunky right in the center here. Try to get it untangled. Well, it's not really tangled or knotted. It just likes to grab onto things. And there we go. Now let's get that green out of there. And we'll go ahead and pull through all three. And chain of 5. And then we'll kind of get this a little pull, not too hard because you don't want to make it too difficult for you to get into that 5th stitch or 5th chain. So you don't want to pull it too hard, but you want to kind of give it a little snug where you don't feel like it's too loose. And then we'll go ahead and do our additional 3. All right, so we'll have additional 3 rows of this spunky yarn. Then we'll put it through that post. And we'll pull through, making 3 more rows. Of this particular yarn. Now put a little bit more yarn here because we're gonna be going up to 12 rows. At the end of this particular color is gonna be 12 rows. Gotta go back one. We'll just keep moving right along. And keep building right on up. And this is what they would consider the wave coaster, when it's multiple colors that are being used. That's what my son called it, the wave coaster, or pot holder, or a little mat, or whatever it is, whatever size it comes out to be. We'll just go ahead here and do this. And then there's the first row. of the spunky. Let's go ahead and we'll chain 5 and we'll go into that 3rd stitch. And then just keep right on going. This will be our 11th row, my 3rd row of the spunky, our 2nd row of the spunky, I'm sorry. 11th row in all, but our 2nd row of our spunky yarn. I'm planning on doing a blanket for my little cousin. She is like, she's way overdue for it. I was supposed to have a blanket, or I had planned on making her a blanket last year, and everything just kind of got sidetracked. So I want to make her a princess blanket. I gotta find out what princess she likes, or what it seems to just she has more leniency to. She's only 1, so but little 1-year-olds have a very strong personality of what they like. My grandson, I made him a Big Bird, Elmo, and Cookie Monster blanket, and that was a corner to corner, and he loves it. So, and he's 1. And if I'm not mistaken, I think my grandson and my little cousin, they were born about a couple of months apart of last year. So that is a project that I must fit into everything else that I'm doing. But I'm just gonna keep at it. I'm not gonna give up. Now we're getting ready to end row 11. Getting ready to start row 12. And we'll go to our next color, which will be our gold. And we'll before long we'll be beginning our decrease. So this is row 11. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of move our green for right now. We will pick it up, but it'll be picked up again on the other side when we're getting ready to head into our decrease. So we'll count up 5 again, 4 and 5, and then we will pull through all 3, pull through all 3, and pull through all 3. So when we get through with this row, we'll have 12 rows. We'll go through and pull through, pull through, pull through. Then we'll chain 2, and then go ahead and do 3 more half double crochets under that post. And then we'll slip stitch, chain 2, and then pull through, and we'll slip stitch again and pull through, and we'll go to a third, I'm sorry, and then our 4th half double crochet, and then this little sneaky guy came up out of nowhere. There we go. And go ahead and do our 2nd half double crochet in this next block. Oops. Uh-oh. Keeps wanting to jump off the hook on me. So we'll go ahead and put that through. And put that through. So that's our 4th. Then this is our next block. I'm going to pull this string. There we go. So it'll give me a little bit more freedom to pull the yarn. The other end always likes to wrap up around the main yarn when you're pulling it out of the skein, and it gets wrapped up in there, creating a little resistance, and get that pulled out of there. So here we are. We'll have our 3rd row almost completed. And you always want to know, once we get to this center, you always want to know what color you want to use as your center. And sometimes you may want to change it. You never know. You might want to add another color, which, you know, you're more than welcome. Like if I had decided to go with orange, orange would have probably been another color that I would have added. But I just said, that'll be a little busy. It would be pretty though, but you know, I want to not make it, trying to keep it as less complicated as I possibly can. We're already using 4 skeins, and I don't want to cause a whole lot of. So now, okay, we have our 3. And at the end of this 3rd row, and if you want to ever check yourself, again, you can always check yourself by the block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that lets you know what row you are on. Now when you start going decreasing, of course the numbers is going to be different. There is a way of figuring it out, but I am not going to confuse you right now until I have it written down so I can explain it correctly so you will understand, or have a piece of paper so you can actually see what you can do to make sure you have the right count. I know how to do it, but I do not want to confuse you right now. And I don't have any writing paper like right next to me. So we'll go ahead and pull this gold, antique gold, on through that 3. Instead of pulling completely through the spunky, I'll just pull that gold right on through there. And then we'll just count back 3 chains and continue on our work with the antique gold. So you'll yarn over, go through the chain and pull through, and then pull through all 3. Yarn over, go through the chain, pull through, and pull through all 3. And now we're going to continue on, and we're going to do 3 of the gold. So we'll go ahead and get that done. And then you slip stitch and count up 2, and continue to put in your 3 half double crochets in that same post to equal out 4 half double crochets, and then go to your next post, to your previous row, and you want to just keep going. And you will be at 15 rows when you do these 3 rows. And then when we get back to the spunky yarn, instead of doing 3 rows, we're going to do 7 rows. But there's a decrease in that process. So that is why it's so important to be able to know what yarn you want to start with, making sure that the one that you start with you want to end with. So you have to make sure of how many rows you need in the middle of the project to make it balance out, because I have misnumbered and didn't do it quite right, and yeah, it upset me. So there is a technique to that, to making sure that you have it right. So I got a string that got a little snagged up in there. So we're going to go ahead and keep going until we have our 3 gold. And you want each side to match one another, especially when you're using multiple colors. And you want to have the same number count on each side. So it's very important to count that out, and I'll show you once we start decreasing how it makes a big difference. So I'm going to unwrap. Sometimes the strings do not come out like you want them to, and so I end up pulling up a big ball of yarn out of the skein. And so what I end up doing is having to wrap it around the yarn to keep it from getting tangled up. Actually, untangling yarn for me is very therapeutic. I do not know why, but it is. I guess it's like a maze to me, where figuring out how to get it untangled is just phenomenal to me. I know it sounds strange, but yeah. I guess, and it takes my mind off of whatever it is that might be either bothering me or that may be maybe nagging at me, or I might want to have a conversation with someone and you already know that that conversation can introduce a fight, so it's best just to keep your mouth shut and pray about it. That's what I have to do. So I'll get a big ball of yarn that's really a mess, and I start untangling it. And because I like doing it, it doesn't take me long to untangle it, if that makes any sense. Alright, so we're starting on row 2, and it's starting to come together. It's starting to gather a little shape there. And so we're going to keep going. Do our slip stitch and chain 2. And yep, there's a string again. I'm going to go ahead and cut off, snip off my spunky for right now. I'm going to be using it again here shortly, but it's no point in dragging it along if I don't need to. And then we'll keep going here. And you can use any yarn. You can use any colors that you like. You can use all different colors if you like. You know, the key is the row count and the pattern. Whatever pattern you have, the most important thing is to make sure that you have the balance of the same amount on each side. That is what is going to make your project just absolutely wonderful. There have been projects where my project has been all off, just messed up, because I'm trying something new. And I'm thinking, oh well, I'm not going to worry about it because nobody's going to want this. And I end up not having that project anymore because someone has taken it. And said, oh, well, you said it was ugly. I said, I did not say it was ugly. I said that, you know, it didn't come out right. It's a difference. It didn't come out the way that I would have liked for it to come out. Well, to me, that sounds like you saying it's ugly, so they took it. I'm like, okay. Well, all right. Is that how that's going to work? But then what ended up happening, someone took it from them. Yeah, I like this. It's comfortable. It feels good. Like, oh my goodness. So it just went from one hand to the next. Right now, I don't even know where that blanket is. I remember making a family member of mine a snow white blanket. It was just snow white. She came home and found her husband wrapped up in it. And she kindly unwrapped him and gave him an old blanket off the bed. Said, here you go. That was hilarious. But anyway, we're getting ready to end up. We're heading towards the end of row 14. Now, row 14, so we'll go ahead and keep going here. Making sure that you try to get all the yarn on the hook, because with cotton yarn, it does have a tendency of snagging on other parts of your project where you didn't mean to snag it. And you feel like, oh, where did this come from? And you unravel. I have unraveled practically a whole project trying to get that. It just drives me nuts if I didn't catch it in the beginning. And I always believe you do things as though you're doing it for yourself. Meaning, if you don't want anything with strings and hanging and it doesn't look right, you don't want to give it to anybody else like that. And that is my motto. So we'll go ahead and make sure that we are getting into that post. And making sure that we have every string in place. And we're heading to the end of row 14. And there we go. That's row 14. We'll chain up 5 or 6 if you're doing double crochet. I'm heading to chain or counting back from the hook, 3 chains. With a double crochet, you count by 4. Yarn over and pull through this. And there we go. So here we go. We're getting ready to start row 15. And on the increase side, you will have 18 rows altogether. So on the decreasing side, you're going to need 18 rows. And we'll keep going here with a slip stitch and chain 2, chain 3 if you're doing a double crochet, And just keep working. I don't want to take off too much at a time because I will get it tangled that way as well, and I don't want to waste a lot of time you watching me trying to untangle that. There we go, and we'll keep going. There is then we'll just keep moving right along, just making sure that we are in each block. I have done that too, where I've skipped a block, so we want to make sure that we get under each post across so we don't miss a block, because that will throw your project off as well. That's a little sneaky. Yeah, that snuck in on me. And let's see if we can get this out without any great delays. All right. So what I will do, trying to get it big enough, and I'll just pull this yarn through here, and that should do the trick. Maybe, maybe not. Here we go. All right, so we'll keep moving. And you'll learn different ways of you wanting to be able to work out the knots as they come along. Sometimes it's just in the yarn, you know, it's not anything that you've done. You will run into cases where knots or some kind of twist was made, possibly in the spinning of it, or but nevertheless, you begin learning how to work around them. And so this is our last row. Let's get some more yarn. Go ahead, now I can start pulling it out of the skein, because I finally worked it where I can do that. And we're going to keep moving right along. And making sure we get underneath that post and wrapping it around. Pull it through, yarn over and pull through all three. Pull through all three. And I'll pull through all three. And we'll go ahead and do that one, well, a couple more times. And then we'll slip stitch in the last post, chain 2, pull through all 3, making sure that we have all the yarn, pull through all 3. Now we'll yarn over and pull it through, but we'll leave that yarn off to the side, and we'll pick up Spunky again. And we'll wrap that yarn around there and pull through all 3 loops. Kind of give that little tug, not too tight, but just enough to kind of secure it a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and count out our 5, 4 and 5. And we'll go into the 3rd stitch, and if you're working double crochet, count out 6 and count back to the 4th chain from the hook, and we'll keep moving right along. Making sure that I get under both strings of that V from that chain, and we'll go ahead and kind of pull on this gold, antique gold. We'll start on now with this yarn. At this point, we're going to have 7 rows. We're going to have 3 rows to complete our pattern, and then the 4th row we're going to have as the center of the project. Now if you want, you can always make the difference and put maybe like if you would like to, you can put another color as your center stripe in the midst of your work. But then on the other side of that 7, you're going to start, that other side of that 4th row, you're going to start decreasing. So that's why I say it's very, very, very important that you know how you would like for your pattern to be. When I get to that point, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is going to be our first row of our 7. So we'll have and just continue on with our pattern. If you're doing double crochet, you continue to do the double crochet pattern. You can even do this in a single crochet pattern. But in that case, I will possibly use a bigger yarn, bigger hook. Or you can use bigger yarn too, like thicker yarn, if you would consider doing this in a single crochet to give her a more fuller effect with a smaller stitch. But we will continue on here. This is our first row for this section. And I know that your projects are probably beautiful. I've often wanted to do this project in different shades of purple, different shades of blue, green, pinks. I've also wanted to do this in fluorescent colors as well. So it's just all kind of ways you can do this. And the color wave, like I said, this particular wave pattern I came up with as far as using different colors and different things of that nature was when I did the rainbow. And like I said, the rainbow one turned out really, really nice. It turned out so nice. Like I said, that somebody, little lady, she bought it. She said, "Oh, this is beautiful. I want this." And I said, "Okay." So, yeah. So you can just do all kind of designs. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna snip this gold just to kind of not get it tangled up with anything. Now, if you decide, let's just say that you wanted to do a rotation where you wanted like maybe the red in this rotation more than one time, you can do that. That will be a bigger project, of course, but you can do that. Let's just say that if you wanted to have this burnt Sierra again after this color, you can definitely do that. You just make a bigger project where you do it with the green and with the gold. But just for tutorial purposes, I just wanted to kind of show you what you can do. Just fun colors, just fun colors. So we'll go ahead and continue on. This is row 16 that we're finishing. Make sure. And we're gonna go ahead and do that. And we'll chain up 5. And making sure we're going back to that third stitch or third chain from the hook. Double crochet. And do a half double crochet there, half double crochet there, and a half double crochet right here. Go ahead and turn our work. I'm going to pull out some more because we're going to be with this color for a little bit. Pull out some more yarn. And we'll keep going. Making sure that you're getting every little string because it can separate on you. I mean, it happened with me with acrylic. It's happened with me with silk. I've worked with silk yarn. That's an interesting yarn to work with. Project came out pretty though. We'll just keep going. And we're making sure that we go to the fourth row. So instead of stopping at 3, we're going to go to 4. And then we'll start decreasing. Yep, so let's keep going here. I think I had one project where I had like 150 rows. And it was a rectangular, so the top started decreasing before the bottom did. And boy, it was a big project, but it was so worth it because my granddaughter was so happy when she got it. It was all worth it, but boy, it wore me out. And I did both her project and her little brother, her younger brother. I did their projects and got it finished before Christmas. I actually finished her project on Christmas morning. And boy, it was a struggle. I didn't finish it until 5 a.m. Laid down, and then everybody was ready to open the presents about 8. I said, well, I didn't get much sleep, but I guess I'll be okay. As her blanket was big enough to fit a twin size bed. So that was a big project. Again, that was a corner to corner. So it is something that I just grew to love. I really grew to love. We're getting ready to. This is row 20. Up. So let's making sure that we got these all intact here. That we keep moving. I feel like I got 2 2 posts instead of 1. Making sure I just have 1 post. Yeah. And we're getting ready to end this row right here. Yep. And we'll turn our work again. Oh. And we're making sure that you have a beautiful, beautiful project. Wrapped around. There we go. So that was row 20. We're going to start row 21. Count it out, 5, and if you're doing double crochet, 6. And let us begin. Let's turn over. As you can see, it's turning out really pretty. Really, really nice. I could have intertwined maybe a soft orange, a nice pretty orange would have been nice, or a little blue would have been nice. So I mean, I can use just all kind of combinations. It's like as you see the project coming together, you can see what it will look like, or you can about imagine what it will look like when you complete it. And then you can also kind of get in mind what other colors you can use with the same yarn, but just incorporate it possibly a little bit differently. We'll keep going here. It would be pretty just to have the gold, maybe gold orange in this color. That would be pretty. But in and possibly just make the gold the centerpiece, and the orange and this spunky can be the accents around the colors. So the one thing about crocheting, to me, it's almost like an artist with paint. To some people, it just look like paint, just colors. But to an artist, they see many different images, many different things. They see more than just paint, and it's the same with crocheters and knitters alike. You see more than just yarn. You can put all kind of combinations together and come up with some amazing things. And we're just going to continue on this. And technically, this would be like the halfway mark. This will be looked upon as the halfway mark. The next row is actually the mid mark. It is the dead center of the project. But this is just like half of the work or half of the block that we have right now. And we'll just keep going here. Keep going, counting it here. Making sure that we get all the strings, because you don't want to get in, lay it down and look and be like, oh, there's a string sticking up. And I've had that happen to me on a couple of occasions. And I could be possibly 3/4 of the way finished, and I'll unravel it all to go back to that one spot and start all over again. And I've done that on many occasions. It's like a painter wouldn't want a drop off of blue paint on someone's hair, and their hair is coal black. That's not acceptable to them. That's not their work. That's not how they do things. Especially when they're known for precise, being precise with their work. So we'll keep moving, and we'll slip stitch. Now we're getting ready to add our last row. We're going to add, this is the last row we're going to be adding. Now let's go ahead and chain our last increase. Okay, one too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I didn't. Go ahead and pull this through. And we'll pull through. And we'll pull through. All 3. All right. Now remember I told you we need 7. And so this is the bottom half of the project. And with this being the bottom half of the project, we need that center line or that base line for that the project. So this is where you could always change your color if you like. You can make it where, like, if you started with the red and you decided that you want to put the red as that center color, you can do that. If you decide that you want to make it a totally different color, you can do that. But for the most part, what you want to make sure is that you have a center color row. And the reasons why is because when you start decreasing, you want the same amount on the other side as you have on this side. So that's why you need to have that center row. So it's going to always be an odd number count. It's never going to be an even row. If it's an even row, then this red won't be on the other side. It'll be another color. It'll possibly be the green that will end it up, or the green or the spunky that will end it up. And you want it to end with the same color if that's what you choose. Now, if you want a different color, hey, you can do that as well. It's up to you. It's your creation. It's your design. But as we continue on, we're going to add this fourth row of the spunky. So as we continue on with the project, we want to make sure that we understand that whatever color you want to be that center bar, whatever color, if you want it to be the same color that you're working on, like I'm working on the spunky with the spunky yarn, you can do that. If you decide that you want to use one of the other colors, if you want to use a totally different color, it's really up to you. But we have to make sure that we have a center line, that when we start decreasing, it is balanced, meaning that if we have 21 rows on one side, we should have 20 rows on the other side, keeping it balanced. And that's what I had to learn through my process of getting this mapped out right. And like I explained, a lot of things that I do on a whim. I may not have a pattern of no type, but I get this idea that pops in my head, and I say, I'm gonna try that. And when I try it, I'm like, oh, it turned out pretty good. There are a lot of projects that I have done where I didn't know how it was going to work, but it turned out very, very well. So as I continue on, this is row 22, but this is our center or our main row, that once we start decreasing, we're going to have the same amount on the other side as we do when we first started. So I hope that is making sense to you, but as we continue on with the project, you will see how it all comes in to play. So we'll have the double crochet process, and if you're doing the double crochet process, it's going to be a little looser, but it'll be just as beautiful as any other stitch. And we're going to continue on. And we're almost halfway through, or if we're not all the way halfway through this. And we're going to continue on. Now, if you ever decide that you just want to make one solid color, then you can, I will get about 2 skeins, 3, just to be on the safe side, depending on how big you want your project to be. This is going to be about 42, 43 rolls when it is completed. We have 21 rolls. On this side we'll have 21, which will make the other half of it, which is at 42. So 43 rolls in total is what this project is going to consist of. Because I didn't know if I wanted to do 2 rows of each color or 3 rows of each color. But always remember that the main color or the center color that you use, you're always going to have an odd number. Always. So if I had used 2 rows of each color, I would have needed 5. If I decide to just use 1 color, 1 row of each color, then I would have used 3. So it just depends on how many rows of each color. If you had decided, well, I really don't care how it's going to look, I'm just using up all odd yarn, which I've done that too, where you want to just use up all the extras that you have and you just put in color. I put what I call my scrappy blanket. My daughter told me, actually, I like that blanket because I like the colors and it is nothing but scrap yarn. It was nothing fancy about it. It was just scrap yarn that I put together. And she liked the blanket. I'm like, well, you can't have it. I just made you 2 blankets. Yeah, but I like that one too. Oh, Lord. Now make sure that you also put that last block on the end of this roll. Don't decrease until you're ready to turn your work. I made that mistake too. And I had to go back and unravel the whole thing because you offset the pattern when you do that. So now that we are finished with the bottom half of the work, it is now time to decrease. And again, I've explained once before that if you want to make a chain, let's just say that you wanted to make a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just go up to that bar and just pull through, you can do that, no problem. A lot of people find it probably a whole lot easier to do that. I like to slip stitch my way up, because in slip stitching my way up, it looks like that I've already single crocheted the project. So I'll go ahead and just slip stitch my way up, and then just count out my 2 and start doing my pattern again. And again, we need 3 rows. We'll need 3 rows of this on this side of the work to balance out, to mirror the first half of the work that we've already done. And so with that being said, that we want it to be exactly the same way as the other side, we will make 3 rows. So we'll continue on. And this is my first row of a decrease. So this is going to be 20 blocks down, but actually it's row 22. Or no, 23, I'm sorry, row 23. This will be row 23. Because our 4th row of that was row 22. So this is row 23. So we'll just be subtracting a row as we go down. It's an even row that will be the center of your work, but it's an odd number as far as the color is concerned. So I'll use 7 rows with this particular color. If you change the color, then it will be that one single row of that change color, and then it'll start down with 3. But it's look like it's going to be very, very pretty. So let us continue on here. I think this will look pretty with orange yarn, like a dark orange, not too bright. All right. You just keep working right on down. I love to watch it come together. Love to come together like this. And with the rainbow one, because I had 7 colors, I used only 2 rows each. And then my center was 3, which was the violet purple. And then I went backwards with the other colors. because I use more rolls. This is going to be a little bit bigger than the rainbow one, even though they have more colors. So we're getting ready to finish our first decrease line or row. It's our first one. And I would also suggest that whatever main color that you use, especially if you're doing alterations like this, I will make sure that you would have at least 2 of these. It feels like I should have enough yarn, but you never want to cut yourself too close. Never want to cut yourself just entirely too close. Okay, and so this is the end of the decrease, and so we'll turn our work and we'll start decreasing, going back the other way. Now go ahead and do my slip stitch. Chain 2, and then just go ahead and continue my my pattern. Yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over, pull through. And yarn over and pull through. And we'll just continue to go until we have all 3 of our spunky. A lot of fun colors, a lot of interesting ways that we can do this. Nevertheless, you are the creator. You are the designer. You are the one that know what you like and know how you see it or envision it. And you just do what makes you happy. You know, one beautiful thing about colors, there's nothing set in stone. Unless you're invited to a linen party, then you know that you must wear white. Or if it's a black tie event, then you know that you must wear a black tie. I don't know if they even have those anymore, because nowadays the black tie, even bow tie and all that, it's not really requested too much. You know, I've seen men that are dressed really, really nice, and they ain't even have a tie. You know, some cases socks is not even required anymore. So anyway, it's just all about what you desire. There's so many things that you can do with different colors. And so many ideas that you can come up with. It's whatever makes you happy. Anyway, going to keep moving right along. My son tells me the cicadas. I think that's what he calls them. I call them crickets. He said, no, they're cicadas. And I'm like, okay. I always know what time of the year it is. This what brought this idea to mind. Fall. And what do we usually see in fall? Leaves. And the leaves change in different colors. So like, okay, this would be awesome. So we're heading in for the finish on this row. And now that we are closing in, remember we are not increasing anymore. We are getting to the point of decreasing and ending the project, getting closer to ending the project. We have one more block for this row. And then we go ahead and slip stitch at the end and turn our work. So see how pretty those colors are? They're nice and pretty. Give me the fall feel. Now we have one more decrease, and you can tell this is the point. This is the last increase we made. The second block right here is the first decrease, and this is our second, and we're getting ready to start our third. Chain up 2 or 3 if you're doing double crochet, and we continue our work. And there is that. Now when we're getting ready to add on our next color, that is going to be a little different, because remember we usually incorporated in the stitch before we increase. Now we're going to pull it through as we decrease. through that post. Through that post. And that post one more time. This would be row 26. I think it is 21, 22, 23, no, 25. Row 25, because we added 3 rows. So this is row 25. We'll keep going, keep moving that same pattern. Beautiful thing about it, now if you're putting a picture like I've done previous ones where I had the shamrock or the bunny rabbit in the center, those take some practice when you are incorporating it in the midst of a project. I have other designs on that, as those particular where you're incorporating pictures. I have other projects I can do as far as those concerned, but I just thought it would be a nice break to do the autumn colors. And this can also be used for Halloween, for Thanksgiving. But, uh-oh, it didn't want to go through for me. So we'll just head on down to the end of this row, and then we're going to pick up our gold because we're mirroring the other side of the project. We are going to have this same pattern like here on the other side. And what I could have done as well was do the 3 and then put, maybe if I know I had orange here, and put an orange stripe in the middle to kind of break it up a little bit, but I didn't want to make it any more confusing for you, so I just thought I'd just stick with this. Another thing I could have done was, after I did the 3, I could have put a red in the midst of that. Something just popped in my head where I could have did a red, green, and gold stripes in the middle. That could have been an idea as well, where I could have just left this at 1 and then put the red, the gold, and green, and then 1. But I would have had to figure out how to incorporate that would make it look right. That is the key factor. All right, so we're doing our very last spunky color in this section. And pull that through. Now, instead of putting the spunky through, we'll just pull through the gold. I'm gonna pull that string through. There we go. So don't be tangling it up on the other end, on this end, while I'm trying to pull it through. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and pull this gold through. No, you know what? I just thought about something. I'm glad I didn't. I am going to pull this through. I want to work up the yarn. So I'll go ahead and slip stitch. I forgot about that part of it. Slip stitch all the way up, then I'll pull the gold through. That way it doesn't throw off the pattern. Or the edging. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that. And I still have quite a bit left, so I don't have any concerns with not being able to do the other two blocks. So I'll go ahead and I'll pull this through, and I'll keep working the next row. And we're doing 3 gold rows. And then you'll start seeing your work coming together. Especially when we get down to possibly the green, everything to really start falling into place then. And then you'll be so proud of your work. And strings again. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll pull that through, and we'll pull this through. We'll go ahead and pull it through. And we'll just keep moving right along as we get closer. closer. It may seem like it takes a long time. But actually, when you calculate some of the projects that you can do in a day, you're figuring, boy, it didn't take as long as I thought. It feel like it takes a long time, but it really doesn't. It's just in something that you enjoy doing. That's the most important thing. To enjoy doing the craft. Uh-oh. It's not wanting to come through for me. Keeps wanting to slip off my hook. I'm trying not to draw it too tight. And it all depends on how flexible, or yarn is flexible, but it just depends on how loose or how tight you want the project to be. As long as you secure it, when you tie it off and sew it through and all that's what the key is, making sure that you have enough to kind of weave through and give it that security. In some of the projects that I've had done, I did use a little fabric glue on knots. If I made knots in some areas, I'll put a little fabric glue on it to kind of keep it or hold it into place. But for the most part, try to keep enough of a thread, the yarn on there, to be able to weave through, and then that way I know it's in there. Because you want your work to last, You want your work to last. So we're finished with our first gold. Row, just about. And then we'll go ahead and slip stitch. Turn our work. And go ahead and making sure I pull it up the right way. Pull it up over the hook. And then we'll go ahead and slip stitch our way up the top. And if you want to do a chain 3 and then just go into that post, you can have that way done just equally as well. Sometimes if you want to put a border on, you can put a border on and then kind of hide it underneath the string underneath the border. I'm just like cheating a little bit where I can have my border already in place. It already looked like I've already crocheted across there, and all I did was just slip stitched up the side, or this would be considered the top. And you go ahead and Just work your second row here, and it should seem like it's getting shorter. We're losing a stitch a row or a block a row, so we're closing in. And as you move along, you'll start seeing your creation come to life. And that's what I love seeing. I love seeing the creation come to life. And just keep going. You know, that the beautiful thing is you don't have to change your stitch at all. You just keep working the same stitch that you've been working. Only things that's changing in this case will be the colors and the row count. This is great, you know, when you want to keep yourself busy. These are great to do while you're sitting in front of television watching a show or listen to the radio, or sometime I can just set up in the bed and it just be completely quiet. No TV, no radio, no internet, no phone, nothing. And it's just me, a hook, and some yarn. And it's because this is soothing, relaxing, calming. Okay, we should be about halfway through this. So this should be row 27. And then we'll go ahead and do our next block. And then next block. And then strings. Then our next block, and then we'll be ending up this row. And then slip stitch. And as you can see, it's very pretty. Very, very pretty. So let's do our final gold. will be the last of this gold that we will use for this project. After we finish this row, then we'll go back to the spunky. Then what we're going to do, so I don't keep you too much longer, let you all kind of see if you want to change colors, see if you want to do something different, you know, like maybe put less of one color, more of one color, or you want to interchange. I'm going to probably make this, I was hoping, I didn't know how long it would take me to make this. I'm going to finish up this row, and then I'm going to actually probably go ahead and do a part 2 to finish this out. So we'll have a part 1 and a part 2, and then that way you can see the actual finished project. But let me go ahead and let me finish up this row. Finish up this particular row. I don't like that. I don't want it that loose. Okay. This is more like a placemat size. It's okay. We'll go ahead and get this. See here. We'll go ahead and get this row completed. I'll lay the work down so we can take a look at it and see how it's looking, to show that the mirroring of the work. So there we are. That is the completion of the gold. We won't have to use the gold anymore. And as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And if we take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we know that it's matching. If you can see the point here, the points on the end, that lets you know that that's the center pieces, or the center point, which is that longest point. As long as it mirrors what the other side is showing, you know that you're doing the correct number and the correct amount for each side. If this number or this number was different from this one, this is our beginning portion of the project, and if this number was less or greater, then we know that we have a line in here too many or too short. Nevertheless, it's always fixable, and this is why it's always great to kind of stop and just take a look at your work to see if this is coming out the way it's supposed to come out, and if it's not, unraveling it. And I know that that is something that it sounds like more work, but I think you will want it right versus just going on and pushing through it, because your work is an illustration of you. And if you are perfectionist, your work is going to show that perfectionist type of ability from you. Now I'm going to stop the video here because I didn't plan on making it this big, but now that I realize it's bigger than what I thought I was going to have, I'm going to stop it right here, and I'm going to do a part 2 to this so we can go ahead and complete the work. At this point, we will be working up the side of this, and we're going to be pulling back in our spunky yarn to do a 3 to match this 3, to have it up here at the top, and then we'll go to our green, and then the spunky again, and then our red. I'm going to finish it so you can see what it looks like on camera when it's complete and full. Not going to leave you hanging, but for right now I'm going to stop here and pick up this. Hopefully I can get started and complete this tomorrow. That way you can see the finished product, and that you can start your fall ensemble as you would like to see it come to life. But for right now, this is Kim, Crochet with Kim. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with me. Making sure that the part 2 is going to get completed, and that way you can see the finished product. But until then, I'll talk to you later. Bye.